There it is, first glimpse from a distance of Mount Currahee. Well, here I am at Camp Toccoa, basically. Let's see, that would have been 1943 maybe they were here. And this is where the camp would have been. This was the entry road. One of the last remaining buildings is what probably was the mess hall. It's on private property now. It's actually still there, so that's kind of interesting. And across the street from Camp Drive is what looks like could have been here back in the day, and on top of it is a memorial now to the paratroopers. Camp Toccoa, 1942 to 45. This is where the men of Easy Company would have drilled, and this is a memorial to them and their comrades that all trained here. And this first marker is dedicated to the 506 PIR, and this is the group that Easy Company was part of to combat jumps to Normandy and Holland. Then over here we have the 501st, the 511th. They went to the Pacific, and the 517th. Here's a little information board nearby showing information on the Currahee Military Museum in downtown Toccoa, which I'll be going to see in the next day or two. And here's the back of the monument. Here's another view of that building that's still on the property from another side. And if we, from the top of Currahee Mountain. Well, I've been a fan of the Band of Brothers series ever since I read about the book. Didn't read the book first, I saw the movie first. And then I read the book after the movie. But it's just a very inspiring story, and this is kind of where it all began. Here at the top of Currahee Mountain and down below at Camp Toccoa, where Easy Company and the 506 and several other regiments trained for battle in the European theater of operations in Europe. Jumping into Europe the day before D-Day, or the night of D-Day, early morning. And here we are at the top of Currahee Mountain, 3 miles up, 3 miles down, as they used to say. I drove up here. But it's a beautiful view from up here, and it's just one of those spots kind of walking in the footsteps of history, driving the 3 miles in the footsteps of history instead of actually running it. But, you know, that's the way it goes. Something that wouldn't have been here back in the day is communications towers all over the top of the mountain. There's supposed to be a plaque here, but I haven't found it. So up this road would have come soldiers from the 501st, 506, 511th, 517th, running Currahee. The Band of Brothers coming up this hill, nearing exhaustion, near the top, and they had to do it up and down 6 miles in less than 50 minutes to qualify at the end of their training. Now what's funny is, about 15 years ago, I came to this spot, Band of Brothers, shooting America Through the Windshield promo videos. And here from the top of Mount Currahee, we did a lot of shooting just because it was such a picturesque spot that I had discovered years before when I was as a college student at the University of Georgia. Brought some of my students from Full Sail up here to shoot some video. We shot some stuff right down there on that rock. He's got slick tires, he tells me. So indeed, this used to be one of the entrances to the camp. There used to be World War I tanks mounted here. So this is the only building left of the original camp, and now on this space has been built some kind of factory that doesn't even look like it's operating anymore. There's the monument, and here is Camp Drive, the main entrance to Camp Toccoa. That might be a fire hydrant left over from the camp days. And also I'm just wondering if this might be the remnants of the old road that used to run through here. And then there is the what's thought to be the mess hall on the left there. The only remaining building from Camp Toccoa. One comment on the monument, the pair of boots and rifle butt on the left represents the ever dwindling number of veterans that are still alive today. Stop number 9 on the Stevens County Currahee driving tour is the parade ground, and the guidebook says the parade ground is now covered by pines. I would have to agree. Stop number 10 is where Patterson Pump Company now is. This is where the company headquarters used to be. This is where the camp headquarters used to be. Warehouse, quartermaster's offices, bowling alley, and movie theater. So there it is. And here is Camp Drive. While driving along what used to be the parade grounds, I have to think it's amazing what 60 years how in 60 years man's existence can be completely erased. So this is on the western part of the camp, and these would have been rows of barracks all the way along here. And once again, I just can't help but be amazed that in 60 short years all existence of a camp being here has just been completely overgrown. So you know, how can we say things happened millions of years ago when in 60 years what used to be a flattened piece of earth has now been completely overgrown? One of the few remaining evidences that anything was here are the 1942 fire hydrants. So these were brand new when they were installed into the camp, as they usually would be, fresh off the manufacturing floor. Just walked into the woods here just a little bit just to see if I could see anything, any remnants of foundations. It looked like someone's walked through here before. The grass has been pushed over. You can see that it looked like this area might have been cleared at one point, but absolutely nothing, no evidence whatsoever that there used to be a camp here. And I suppose I've been to Dachau concentration camp in Germany, and had they not rebuilt some of the structures, perhaps nothing would be left there, but there were foundations there at least. Another thought while I navigate through the prickly bits, which grab at my skin since I'm wearing shorts, which looking back may not have been a good idea, and quite possibly walking through poison ivy too, which could be really bad, especially in a few minutes. But What is the allure that brings people in search of places where things happen that are no more? So I'm standing at where one of the roadways into the camp would have been, and still offers no indication that anything was ever here. It's understandable that the buildings were torn down probably when the army left the area, but you would think one might be able to find some existence of a foundation, but nothing. I guess the only thing that signifies anything was here is the fairly young growth of the trees, but even those might have been harvested and replanted over 60 years. A short span in life, a man's life, and yet so much can happen in the world. Perhaps one last reminder beyond the one building that's left and the fire hydrants would be this curb, which seems to have concrete that looks like it might have been 60 years old or so. And that's about it. Here's a map from the guide book, or the guide leaflet. And we are about here, somewhere along there, that curve. B Street or C Street. Nothing left. Alright, here we are driving along Camp Drive, past all the leftover signs. This would have been officer country on the right. This is to commemorate the 3 miles up, 3 miles down trail going up Currahee. Easy Company, or 506, was the first unit to be trained here at Toccoa. Just on the right is the roof of the chow hall left over from Camp Toccoa days, and this would have been the road up Currahee. 3 miles up, 3 miles down. Looking inside the old building, not much to see. If those walls could speak. Okay, this is looking in the direction of the monument in the front of the camp. This would have been the back of the camp. And there's a hill on the back side here, and then this would have been looking towards the parade ground and beyond. I would wager to say that that is leftovers of the old road curb that went around the camp. So a few remnants, not much. Okay, I'm running the actual road up to Currahee Mountain Road. And I got my t-shirt on. It says I ran Currahee, so I gotta earn it, because I haven't done it yet. So this is pretty honorable to be, it's pretty honored. I feel honored to be able to run this this trail. I mean, because you think of the guys that ran here that didn't make it home. And, you know, this is one of the last places they went, so it's quite a historic place to run. Hang on a sec. That's my car back there. I think I'll take that instead. So time is an issue as well as energy. So we're doing the rest of the Currahee trail from the comfort of our vehicle. But you definitely do have to give a thought to the gentleman who ran this road as part of their training, and then went off to fight World War II, either in Europe or the Pacific, and then never came home. It definitely makes you think about the gentleman that trod this same ground. I heard one of the soldiers that ran this hill talk about this part, which is a pretty steep incline, as being the worst part. And then when they got to the top, there was a wall they called the puking wall for obvious reasons. There's Toccoa in the distance.